Is bodybuilding healthy? I think it is a hard question to answer. What do you think? Healthy? Unhealthy?
And we got to the end of week 3. Not too bad. I thought it would be a lot more strange, but it actually was okay. I was able to manage my training load, my steps, my fatigue, self-regulated for my appetite, my high days, low days. So things are heading in the right direction. Average weight 60.5, 60.8 fluctuates, but it's definitely trending down. And if the weight is not necessarily moving that much, I feel definitely leaner. I had a few question marks in the middle of the week, and when comparing my pictures from today and last week, there doesn't seem to be like a huge difference, but you can't see big differences in 1 week, especially when you're natural, especially when you're not being super aggressive. You will just notice a slight, small progress. Those progresses and small things add up over time. So I think I just need to keep being consistent, keep going.
This is one of these weeks where you try to do your best, but you don't feel or don't see that you're making progress. You don't see meaningful changes in your body. And sometimes that's the way things work. Your body holds on to water. It's just slow to respond. Maybe the difference between 1 week and the other is so small that you don't see it, but probably there is somewhere in your body that you're not able to see significantly. And also, like, I'm struggling to see whether there is an actual progress from 1 week to the other, because I haven't seen much changes in the scale this week. This week the scale has been very steady. Just needing to keep it together, stay consistent, and just literally continue to show up.
Hey babe, what do you think about my current progress?
You look fantastic. I can see especially your legs, lower 40, thicker than ever. I can see more muscle mass. I can see more definition at this stage, even though you haven't progressed much in your fat loss phase. You look way leaner than the last time at this current weight. So yeah,
that's
definitely,
good.
yeah, you're going down the right track. Yeah, I can see you winning.
Oh, thank you. What do you think?
He also can see you win.
You think I'm gonna win? Am I doing good?
Papa, tell your mom, you're already a winner. You're already a winner.
Let's make breakfast. So today I'm gonna have my usual breakfast, bean sprouts. I'm going to cook broccoli on the microwave. I am having today extra lean beef, and also I'm having potatoes. It's ready now. Five 500 grams of bean sprouts. Like literally almost raw. I like it that way. The other 3 things I've been using to get a little bit of extra flavor: not real butter, nutritional yeast, sugar-free sweetener. That allows me to have a great combination of flavors: savory, buttery, and cheesy, and keeps my calories fairly low. I've been still debating whether I should be a little bit more aggressive with my calories or not, because yeah, I don't see much changes on the scale this week, but I also eat a lot of volume, and sometimes my digestive system doesn't catch up with the time of weighing on the scale, and so I could be just weighing almost the same, but there are actual body fat changes. It's just really hard to gauge because one way to the other there doesn't seem to be like huge differences. And I don't know whether the calories I'm eating right now are making a huge impact, but I don't want to then do something too aggressive that can just make adherence harder, or just make these unnecessary changes just because I can see objectively the number changing on the scale, and one week to the other visuals are not going to be significantly obvious. So this has been a struggle this week. I just need to continue sticking to the plan for the next week or so and see whether from week 2 to week 4 there could be a more meaningful difference. I am cycling my calories as well. I'm having days where mostly I eat a lot less calories and days that I eat a lot more, based on my hunger cues and also based on my energy needs for the day, the activities I'm going to be doing, the training sessions that I'm going to be making, to ensure that I have plenty of energy. And also a big role that is playing on my decision whether I increase or lower my calories on that day is how busy I'm going to be, and taking advantage of that to reduce my food focus and have a little bit more extra calories for the days that I am less distracted or have less things to do, so I can allow myself more calories throughout the day, and it somehow serves a good purpose to not feel restricted on the days that I want to eat more. I have increased a lot more my energy output and reduced my energy intake by a little bit more, just because we're trying to make a lot more progress these first few weeks so we don't have to rush at the end. And because the prep was cut in half, just because this new idea of competing in the IFBB Federation for that natural competition, I don't want to do my best. So because there seems to be a good conditioning to begin with, I'm wanting to see how much condition could I get in the next 6 to 7 weeks, so I have a little bit of time in between the last couple of weeks and the peak week to refine things and fine-tune things if that's needed. But at this stage, I think we are in a good place, and I don't want to abuse cardio. I don't want to over restrict or do anything that is not needed, because I don't want to risk myself either with my relationship with food or anything. If I am not in a good place, or I get to be in a place where I feel things are very wobbly and tricky and not safe for my mental health, I am just not going to continue pushing to that date. I will just give myself a little bit of extra time. I still have quite a few months to do another few competitions. I just wanted to see how close could I get for this competition, which was not in my plans when I decided that I would compete this next time. If I'm honest, this week emotionally has been a little bit harder, because
it's you against you, but it's also you against other competitors that you have no idea that are going to show up on the day. And sometimes, because this is a physique competition, you don't really know how good your physique is gonna be, and at the end of this prep, and how it's gonna stack against the other competitors. And I've done the work. I've put a lot of extra effort to focus on the weakest points of my lower body, to work a little bit more on my hamstrings, on my quads, on my glutes. But obviously, I don't know how much progress I've actually made in so little time. And that kind of like puts question, is this worth it to compete so soon? Because I competed last year, I'm gonna compete again this year. And I haven't really given plenty of time to, quote unquote, grow more my legs and things like that. But honestly, I'm not as young. I'm 36 or 37, I don't know. And I don't want to just use all this year to put on muscle, grow, and just waste another year, because I haven't focused on growing my family. And I kind of like promised myself and my husband that we would focus on doing those things once I moved away from the competitive season, and just focusing on my health and on actually being ready mentally after achieving these goals to physically move to the next phase of my life. And it's just something that hasn't been easy to sort of like balance out, because obviously I want to be very competitive, but I'm also going to be competing natural. I don't want to use anything, and in all honesty, I also don't want to create a body that is just good for competitions, but when I am off season, I just look too big, and I just don't want to create a body that I'm not gonna love or like beyond being competitive. Because when you're very, very lean, you show obviously everything you have developed, and you can truly see the amount of muscle you have built. But when you're not competing and you put on extra body fat, you don't look like or perhaps that is my own perspective of how I would like to look. When I am off season, I don't want to look like chubby or fat, because I'm not going to be competing all the time, and I like to not just look fit, but also when I am not competing, which is going to be 80-90% of the time, I want to look like that's a really good fit person without looking chubby. With two bigger legs, and because my genetics tend to accumulate fat in my lower body, I am just not going to look good for myself being off season. So I kind of like where I am at right now, and I'm just going to give my best again. I'm just going to show up, do the best I can, and be as competitive and as conditioned as I can be. But I'm going to stay happy and try to build the body I want to have, not just competing, but beyond competing, and being happy with the body when it's off season as well. After done competing once, and this is my second time, I know how freaking shit you feel when you're that lean. And now I am lean right now, and I already started feeling the effects of overtraining, over dieting, being in low calories. It's just like you're thinking about food a lot more. There's a lot more to it than just being lean. And so that's why I say all the time that this is not sustainable. And I get the big question that I ask myself: is bodybuilding healthy? And this question has to be seen depending on the angle and the length of time or the season you're looking at. I suppose when you look at the big picture and you look at all the season competition show, there are aspects of bodybuilding that are definitely amazing. I guess the part that becomes unhealthy are likely the closest weeks to show day, because it's when you are the leanest, with your calories super low, with your exercise and cardio through the roof, the fatigue. You gotta ignore your hunger, you gotta ignore a lot of the alarms that your body is sort of like screaming at you, and that's not healthy, obviously, because your body's saying this is too much, and we don't want to keep doing this, but you kind of fucking do it if you actually want to win the show or have the best condition that at least you can ever try to get. So I think it is a bit of a hard question to answer. What do you think? Do you think bodybuilding is healthy or is unhealthy? I guess when you think about all sports can somehow become unhealthy when you think about being a competitive level or professional level. You gotta do whatever it takes to be the best, I suppose. And when you do look at maybe amateur, non-professional, sporadic, recreative athletes, then maybe the answer could be a little bit different. Maybe then you can think about something a lot healthier, because there's a lot more to the physique. There's habits, mindset, growth, getting organized, doing things for yourself, self-care, become more feminine, focusing on a lot more things that are just going to create that final package that shows up on the stage. But I think that's a lot of beauty and a lot of healthy things about bodybuilding. But when it comes to take it to the next level, like Mr. Olympia, Arnold's, those high pro levels of competition, then you kind of like, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you gotta starve yourself to become the most conditioned, you will see people are gonna do it. They do what it takes to be the best. But again, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about bodybuilding? Do you think it's healthy? Or what is your perspective? Let me know.